Welcome to Concerned Citizens Presents. Concerned Citizens of Laguna Woods is an organization dedicated to peace, economic and social justice, good government, and a clean environment. Every month, we invite an expert to enlighten us on a topic related to our mission. Because Village TV videotapes these presentations, we can share that expertise with a larger audience. We hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
I am pleased to welcome you to the Concerned Citizens celebration of Peace Day 2024. Today's celebration includes poetry from well-known poets, original poetry, song lyrics, and several personal reflections of peace, representing a wide variety of clubs in Laguna Woods Village. Of course, we have 3 musical selections, including a sing-along, get ready. And special thanks to Mark Hochberg, whose music you enjoyed as you were arriving. Our musical director, Sharon Rosen, and special guest, Moki Lund. You may have heard Moki before. Our first speaker, Nancy Nadell, is going to share with us a legacy of peace. Please welcome Nancy.
Good afternoon. I'm Nancy Nadell, and I'm so proud to open this special 2024 celebration of peace. Before we enjoy performances by several of our village residents, some history. Let me take you back 43 years to 1981. In 1981, the world was churning with rebellions, upheavals, wars, and other global conflicts. Also in April 1981, the Israelis and the Syrians were launching surface-to-air missiles at each other. That same year also saw the Soviet-Afghan War and the Iran-Iraq War. And closer to home, a Cold War and arms race continued brewing between our country and the Soviet Union. All of that chaos and turmoil was happening 43 years ago. And in response to all the tumult, in 1981, the United Nations unanimously voted to establish the International Day of Peace, a plea to lay down weapons and observe ceasefires, and a promise to see each other's humanity, because our survival as a global community depends on it. That same year, 1981, my mother, Sue Nadell, agonized about the world's madness. She had witnessed the horrific bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and was tormented by the impending threat of global nuclear annihilation. She knew too well that the United States and the Soviet Union were one-upping each other in a race to build the next generation of nuclear weapons. My mother was an activist and an influencer. So in 1981, she, along with several other village residents, formed the Concerned Citizens for Peace. She was joined by my father, Philip, Robert Yaller, Leo and Clara Zimmerman, and Sidney and Evelyn Smith. Their commitment was to be peacemakers in their own lives and to keep open the dialogue of peace between individuals, groups, and nations. They took to heart their conviction that the United States and the Soviet Union should immediately stop the nuclear arms race. As my mother said, there were 2 countries poised to attack each other. Our job was to pull them apart. As it is today, Concerned Citizens for Peace was very active 43 years ago. The club held silent vigils for peace on the corner of El Toro and Paseo de Valencia. They held many rallies against the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and they were among the 15,000 who gathered in San Onofre to protest the nuclear site. In 1981, the doomsday clock was set at several minutes to midnight. For those who may not know, the doomsday clock was adopted by atomic scientists to show how close we are to a global cataclysm, with midnight standing for annihilation. Metaphorically, the clock's minute hand moves closer or farther from midnight, depending on the level of threat thought to be posed by devastation from nuclear weapons and other threats to humanity. Today, the doomsday clock is set at 90 seconds to midnight, the closest it has ever been to doomsday. And today, more and more countries either possess or are building nuclear weapons. The United States, France, Russia, Iran, China, United Kingdom, Pakistan, India, Israel, and North Korea. So today I'm proud to carry on the legacy of my mother and those pioneers of concerned citizens for peace, and to remind us that this is a day of peace, that this day of peace is devoted to commemorating and strengthening the ideals of peace, both within and among all nations and peoples. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. It is now with great pleasure that I introduce our next speaker, Marcy Scheinwald, who's going to speak to us about the power of community. Marcy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Prior to moving to the village, I was a government official, and I had to go out in the community and talk to strange groups. And I always tried an icebreaker. And but this isn't a strange group, I'm straight. But groups I didn't know. And I would usually start with the story, do you know the 3 greatest lies? Everybody's brain is working? The first one is the check is in the mail. The second is, I'll still love you in the morning. And the third is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. I'm from the foundation. And when I go around now in the village, I can truly say that I'm here to help you. But I'm only able to say that, and with the help of our social services department, because of the power of community. 27 years ago, the power of community came together and formed the foundation, our local charity. Initially, it was formed to help some people badly affected by flooding in the village. They came together, their religious, racial, ethnic, and political differences didn't matter. They simply wanted to help. As you can tell, I'm more comfortable talking about peace, not from an abstract or a global perspective, but right here in our neighborhood. Because the foundation provides us an example of how people can come together and in that process create peace. Let me be more specific. By stepping forward to ensure that all residents have access to food, the foundation provides sustainability. By addressing food insecurity, we provide stability. By stepping in and helping people when they cannot pay their bills, we provide security. By helping frailer members of our village, either with emergency response devices or caregiving services, we provide well-being. And most recently, through our Good Neighbor project, bringing people in the village together, we are creating community. Think about what I just said. Sustainability, stability, security, well-being, and community. Those are all the ingredients needed for peace. I'd like to end again by telling you that I'm not good about talking about abstract concepts. Those of you who may know me better, I'm a kind of hands-on person. There's a problem, I want to find a solution. But I want you to think about the power of community, each one of you. Based upon events in the newspapers, each one of us knows that we cannot put out a forest fire alone. We cannot fix a dam broken by a raging river. We cannot discover a vaccine for a pandemic. We cannot even film a movie by ourselves. It takes a group of people. It takes community. People working together. And as I have learned by working with the foundation, working together for a better good, for an ideal that is more important than us individually. And it is through the community, through the formation of community, that society has survived. Not by people alone, but by people coming together. It's what I call community is a survival skill. And peace is not an ideal. It's an action. It's something that we do every day of our lives when we go to help somebody else. As I'd like to end, community is my goal. I hope it is your goal. The end result is peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcy. Our next speaker today is Nicole Aloni, who's going to be sharing with us the Dalai Lama reflects on working toward peace. Please welcome Nicole.
So weighty responsibility, right? Sharing words from the Dalai Lama. And this is excerpted from a series of talks that he gave at a university on working towards peace. Today's world requires us to accept the oneness of humanity. In the past, isolated communities could afford to think of one another as fundamentally separate. Some could even exist in total isolation. But nowadays, whatever happens in one region eventually affects many other areas. Within the context of our new interdependence, self-interest clearly lies in considering the interests of others. Many of the world's problems and conflicts arise because we've lost sight of the basic humanity that binds us all together as a human family. We tend to forget that despite the diversity of race, religion, ideology, and so forth, people are equal in their basic wish for peace and happiness. Actions and events depend heavily on motivation. From my Buddhist viewpoint, all things originate in the mind. If we develop a good heart, then whether the field of our occupation is science, agriculture, or politics, since the motivation is so very important, the result will be more beneficial. With proper motivation, these activities can help humanity. Without it, they go the other way. This is why the compassionate mind is so very important for humankind. Although it's difficult to bring about the exchange that gives rise to it, it's absolutely worth a try. When you recognize that all beings are equal and like yourself in both their desire for happiness and their right to obtain it, you can feel empathy and closeness for them. You can develop a sense of responsibility for others. It's not just an emotional response, but a firm commitment founded on reason. Therefore, a truly compassionate attitude towards others does not change even if they behave negatively. I believe that we must consciously develop a greater sense of universal responsibility. We must learn to work not just for our own individual self, family, or nation, but for the benefit of all humankind. Universal responsibility is the best foundation both for our personal happiness and for world peace. The equitable use of our natural resources, and through a concern for our future generations, the proper care for the environment. A new way of thinking has become the necessary condition for responsible living and acting. If we maintain obsolete values and beliefs, a fragmented consciousness, and a self-centered spirit, we'll continue to hold to outdated goals and behaviors. Such an attitude by a large number of people would block the entire transition to an interdependent, yet peaceful and cooperative global society. If we look back at the development of the 20th century, the most devastating cause of human suffering, of deprivation of human dignity, freedom, and peace, has been the culture of violence in resolving differences and conflicts. In some ways, the 20th century can be called the century of war and bloodshed. The challenge before us, therefore, is to make our new century a century of dialogue and of peaceful coexistence. In human societies, there will always be differences of views and interests, but the reality today is that we are all interdependent and have to coexist on this small planet. Therefore, the only sensible and intelligent way of resolving differences or clashes of interests, whether between individuals or nations, is through dialogue. The promotion of a culture of dialogue and nonviolence for the future of humankind is thus an important task of the international community. It is not enough for governments to endorse the principle of nonviolence or hold it high without any appropriate action to promote it. It's also natural that we should face obstacles in pursuit of our goals. But if we remain passive, making no effort to solve the problems we meet, conflicts will arise and hindrances will grow. Transforming these obstacles into opportunities for positive growth is a challenge to our human ingenuity. To achieve this requires patience, compassion, and the use of our intelligence. Thank you.
But what we're going to present next is words without music. We often can, maybe remember the chorus, hum along with part of it, okay? But there was a song written a long, long time ago by Bobby Darin. Remember Bobby Darin? Any of you? Yeah. He wrote a song called A Simple Song of Freedom, okay? And Arlene Block is going to share those words with us without the music, okay? Perhaps you can think along in your head or hum along quietly. Thank you.
As David mentioned, Bobby wrote the song in 1969, so I've taken the liberty of updating a couple of the words just a little bit. Come and sing a simple song of freedom. Sing it like you've never sung before. Let it fill the air. Tell the people everywhere. We, the people here, don't want a war. Hey there, Mr. African. Can you hear me? I don't want your diamonds or your game. I just want to be someone known to you as me. And I will bet my life you want the same. 800 million, are you listening? Most of what you read is made of lies. But speaking one-to-one, ain't it everybody's son that wakes us in the morning when we rise? Brother Zelensky, are you busy? If not, won't you drop this friend a line? Tell me if the man who is plowing up your land has got the war machine upon his mind. Now, no doubt, some folks enjoy doing battle, like presidents, prime ministers, and kings. So let's all build them shelves where they can fight among themselves and leave the people be who love to sing. Come and sing a song of freedom. Sing it like you've never sung before. Let it fill the air. Tell the people everywhere, we, the people here, don't want a war. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we're going to put some music to some words, song you probably will recognize, okay? Let me introduce to you our musical director, Sharon Rosen.
This song was written in the mid-'80s by people who are of a certain age, like me, and had done their duty with working for peace as peace activists and activists for social justice. And they looked around in the 80s and found that the hippies were being replaced by the me generation. And they were a little disheartened. And I wish this song no longer had any value, but it has so much more now. This is called Where is the Light? Men of courage, men of reason, fearful of the rising tides, women with your gentle wisdom, children still with wonder in your eyes. Our strength is in our numbers, we outnumber those who hate, but unless we stand up and be counted, hate will dominate. Where's the light from the age of Aquarius? How did we ever get so dim? Where is light? Let it shine through the night again. History, oh history, read about it, learn it well. Once forgotten, twice repeated, it can make the earth a living hell. Now do we teach our children? Fear the stranger, lock the door. What became of all you need is love. Now we need it even more. Tell me, where's the light from the age of Aquarius? How did we ever get so dim? Where is the light that shines through the night again? Alone and talked a while beside the waters of the river. But through the haze I saw you smile. We thought that the light would last forever, forever. Behold, the dawn is breaking over yonder mountain top. It's a chance we should be taking. Come on, and never stop till we bring out the light of the age of Aquarius. Don't it ever get so dim? Bring back the light and blaze on through the night again. Bring back the light from the age of Aquarius. Don't let it ever get so dim. Bring back the light and blaze on through the night again.
I'm going to have to raise this microphone, okay? Because our next guest is going to share with us, I'm just paying my dues. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a friend and an accomplished speaker, Willie Phillips. Please welcome Willie.
I got a call last week, and so I wrote this poem for this event last week while I was sitting on the throne. I'm just paying my dues. When we get right down to the truth of it, there is no them and us. There is only we, humans. We are all human beings that should be humans doing good deeds that perpetuate peace. Unfortunately, we are our own worst enemy. Globally, we spend $15 trillion per year on wars and rumors of wars, while by contrast, we spend less than $1 trillion per year on peace, 6%. We pay the taxes that pay for the wars, so we are paying to kill one another. All the while, the world keeps rotating on its same old axis, and I stand here notating that we must stop revolving and debating and start resolving this evil division and hate. We must change the narrative that drives our bad front page news. We must hold ourselves accountable because we are the ones that pay the dues, and we are the ones that make and write all the bad news. We draw the red lines, we discriminate, and we miseducate, we alienate, we annihilate, and we exacerbate some of those of us that could, would, and should be great. So here I stand, and I'm counting the cost of the countless opportunities, lives, and souls that have already been, are being, and will be lost because of the them and us lies. We cannot and we will not walk together until we are agreed, and none of us will be truly free until every last one of us is free. Am I your enemy because I'm telling all of us the truth? If so, it's a price I willingly pay to enlighten and liberate all of us and our youth. I'm just paying my dues, and I ain't just talking about money neither. Do the right thing for the right reason in and out of season. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Do your due diligence. Do not judge with a grudge. Do not look down or talk down to others when you're up. Is there anybody in here that's tired of hearing bad news? Then let's make and write some good news. Is there anybody in here that's tired of all the lies and faking? Then stand up, come out of your comfort zone, unite, and together let's do some real peacemaking. And when we start doing good deeds, and writing good news continually, and somebody steps up to you and asks you, what in the hell are you doing? Stand flat-footed and look them straight in the eye and tell them, I'm just paying my dues.
I'm very familiar with our next speaker. May I introduce to you my wife? Some of you may know her as well, Susan Deering, who is going to share with us What Do You Mean by Peace, which was written by Rebecca Gilad. Susan?
As David just said, this was written by Rebecca Gilad, the president of Community Bridge Builders, and it's my privilege to read it today in her absence. Thanks to all the organizers of this yearly wonderful peace celebration. It's an honor for Community Bridge Builders to be an integral part of it. And speaking about the Olympic Games, have you heard about the two sports that are taking over any other sport around the world? And no, it isn't pickleball. The first one is called, Let Me Show You That I'm Right and You're Wrong. And the second very popular sport is, exactly what do you mean by showing you respect? You haven't heard? That's strange, because we're all playing those very dangerous games where no one can finish as a winner. It's rich versus poor, Republican versus Democrat, white versus black, straight versus gay, able versus disabled, Christian versus Jew, Jew versus Muslim, Protestant versus Baha'i, deserving versus non-deserving, young versus old, and so on, and so on, and so on. Yes, my friends, today we are celebrating Peace Day. And what is the definition of peace? For me, it is not just the absence of war. I am here to suggest that unfortunately, here in our country, we have the impression that because we don't hear bombs exploding, that we live in peace. But we don't. Not until we can stop the ongoing anxiety and fear can we live in peace. Anger and confrontation will not lead us to real peace here at home, peace of mind, peace of spirit. I'm not trying to be Pollyanna-ish, and I do know that these are not normal times. But for me, neither open nor concealed anger is a solution. We are bombarded with messages and counter-messaging that teach us to hate and fear that which we do not know. Although knowing might just mean knocking on your neighbor's door. So I ask you, what is peace? Well, it certainly depends where you are, who you are, what your life experiences have been, your gains, your losses, your moments of joy, and the moments you thought your unbelievable pain would never go away. But given that we are all in this together, are we willing to listen even when we don't agree? Are we willing to engage with the others? Are we willing to fully and openly oppose a culture of hatred so we can sustain what we have accomplished and create new bridges here at home and elsewhere? We might never solve all the problems that besiege us and separate us. But one thing is certain, we cannot stop trying, and we cannot do it divided. It is only when we shine together that we can light up even the darkest night. How about if rather than us or them, we insist upon us and them? Instead of us versus them, we choose us with them. Together, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan. I'm happy to introduce a longtime friend of mine. I know I've introduced a couple of my friends. I have lots of friends. Thank you. Beth Parrick, who is going to tell us about the art of getting along. Anxious to hear about that. Thank you. Welcome, Beth.
When David called me and said, could you have a couple of your people from the Thrive team speak at this gathering for Peace Day, which kind of matches what Thrive team is about too, goodness and kindness and caring about others and working together. And I said, of course we will. And then I have a couple other people from Thrive who will be speaking this afternoon. And then I went to my favorite source for something like this. And this is one of my favorite books in the whole world. It's called The Joy of Words. And it's filled with essays and poetry, things from Abraham Lincoln, Mark Twain, and poetry, Wordsworth, just beautiful, beautiful. And so I opened it up, and guess what? One of the first pages that I came to was Rules of Life by Confucius. And at the other side is The Art of Getting Along, and that's by Anonymous. Well, Confucius, passed away in 478 BC, so that was a while ago. And Anonymous, as I'm reading it and seeing how the language goes, I'm guessing that this probably was written somewhere in the beginning of the 20th century. But as you listen, please listen to see what it is that's the common content in both of these. Really, really different, but absolutely the message, the heart of the matter, ends up being the same. Rules of Life by Confucius. The rule of life is to be found within yourself. Ask yourself constantly, what is the right thing to do? Beware of ever doing that which you are likely sooner or later to regret having said. It's better to live in peace than in bitterness and strife. It's better to believe in your neighbors than to fear and distrust them. The superior man does not wrangle. He's firm, but not quarrelsome. He's sociable, but not clannish. The superior man sets a good example to his neighbors. He's considerate of their feelings and their property. Consideration for others is the basis of a good life, a good society. Feel kindly toward everyone. Be friendly and pleasant among yourselves. Be generous and fair. So that's Confucius, a long time ago. And this is by Mr. or Ms. Anonymous, The Art of Getting Along. Sooner or later, a man, if he's wise, discovers that life is a mixture of good days and bad days, victory and defeat, give and take. He learns that it doesn't pay to be sensitive soul, that he should just let some things roll off his back, just like off a duck's back. He learns that he who loses his temper usually loses. He learns that all men have burnt toast for breakfast now and then, and that he shouldn't take the other guy's grouch too seriously. He learns that carrying a chip on his shoulder is really the easiest way to get into a fight. He learns the quickest way to become unpopular is to carry tales and gossip about others. He learns that most people are human, and it doesn't do any harm to smile and maybe even say good morning, even if it's raining outside. He learns that most of the other fellows are as ambitious as he is, that they have brains that are as good or better, and they work hard, and it's not the hard work, it is the hard work and not the cleverness that is the secret of their success. He learns it doesn't matter so much who gets the credit, so long as the team can show a profit. He comes to realize that a business could run just quite perfectly without him. He learns to sympathize with the youngster coming into the business because he remembers how bewildered he was when he first started. He learns not to worry when he does not make a hit every time, because experience has shown if he always does his best, then really the average will kind of break out pretty well. He learns that no man ever got to first base alone, and that it's only through cooperative effort that we move on to better things. He learns that the fellows are not any harder to get along with in one place or another, and that getting along depends about 98% on himself. So I'm hoping that you saw what this the similarity, the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter is really similar to exactly what Willie was saying, right?
And now I would like to introduce Cindy Whitney, who's going to tell us about the future of peace. Cindy, please.
Just like Beth, I am also here representing the Thrive Group. So when I was asked to write or share something about peace, I chose the topic, the future of peace. And I decided to enlist a couple of people that I assume will be here in the future, and those are my two grandsons. So they are Charles and Graham. So I first went to Charles, he's 15, and I asked him, how did he envision the future? Would it be peaceful? What did he want to see happen? And he thought for a minute, and he said, well, I want to be involved in more sports, I want more friends, and I want more hobbies. And I thought, okay, I was looking for a little bit more gravitas on that response. So I decided that I thanked him, and I thought that was wonderful, but I moved on to his 18-year-old brother for perhaps a more comprehensive response. Now, Graham, his 18-year-old brother, is in his second year of college. And when I asked him the question, he said, Grandma Cindy, I'm so glad you asked that. And I said, why? And he said, well, because when I was in our dorm last year, we had a student in the dorm who was from a region of the world that is at war. And he said on a couple of occasions, he sat with us at night and talked about what he and his family experienced. What were the dimensions of war that they were experiencing? And he said we could see it, and we could hear it, and we could smell it, and sometimes we could taste the war. And it so deeply affected Graham that he decided to sit down and respond to my request. And he wrote me this. When I take the time to think about what peace will be like in the future, I imagine a place where understanding and cooperation help close as many political and social disagreements as possible. In a world that is ever warming, we face the haunting truth that our oceans are rising, our forests keep burning, and our birds are not migrating. I hope that in the future, our species can find the inner peace that transcends our disagreements and unites us all to work for a healthy world. I hope that as humans, we can each strive to understand one another better, engage in more discussions, embrace those difficult conversations, and foster greater empathy. If we reach a point where our conflicts are resolved through diplomacy rather than discord, future generations will be more empowered than ever to continue shaping our world. So the first thing I did when I read this, after I dried my eyes, I thought, wow, I need to work harder. I need to do more. We all need to work harder and do more for our children, our grandchildren, and their grandchildren, so that they can live in a peaceful world, because peace is not an abstraction, it's not a myth, it's not a concept, it's not a nice to have. It takes work, and it's personal. Okay.
I'd like to now introduce Sunita Saxena, who will tell us about the pursuit of peace. How are we going to get there? Sunita, please.
Good afternoon and namaskar. Pursuit of peace. Peace enriches our communities and individual lives. Through generosity and fairness, we provide a just, vibrant, fulfilling personal and community life. We must treat all people with kindness, regardless of race, gender orientation, sexual orientation, religion, etc. This creates a sense of belonging and togetherness, leading to stronger societies, countries, and the world. Peace can bring cultures to share their uniqueness with the world, bring understanding among strangers, tranquility to the mind, and life to the soul. The citizens of a country can prosper only if a peaceful environment is maintained. Inner peace refers to a sense of calm and contentment that comes from within, rather than relying on external factors to feel happy. Happiness is an emotion, whereas inner peace is a state of being. Hindu scriptures emphasize the pursuit of peace through spiritual practices, ethical living, self-discipline, meditation, and devotion. The ultimate aim is to attain a state of inner peace and harmony with the divine. Peace is central to Hinduism. A key teaching in Hinduism is non-violence, ahimsa, as was practiced by Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi also believed that all religions are true and reiterated, yes, I am. I am also a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddhist, and a Jew. For a peaceful coexistence, the Vedas of Hinduism visualize the key principles of synthesis and balance, interlinked with other values such as truth, purity, forgiveness, and tolerance. I now present to you the Hindu prayer of peace. O God, lead us from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May all beneficent beings bring peace to us, and your wisdom spread peace all through the world. Shanti mantras or peace chants are believed to calm the mind and the environment of the reciter. They always end with the sacred syllable Om, the vibration by which the Supreme Spirit brings all things into manifestation. And the word Om is followed by 3 utterances of the word Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I request you to please repeat these words after me before we chant the Shanti mantra together. Om, Shanti, 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 Shanti. Now join me in reciting the Shanti mantra, the peace chant. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you.
And now it's time for another musical selection with our wonderful musicians led by our musical director, Sharon Rosen, and this time featuring Oki Lund. Thank you.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are moonbeams and sunbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know what the world is now, it's love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and moonbeams enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for just everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Let me bring my friend, another one, of course, to the stage, who's going to share two original poems, War No More and What Separates Us. Please, please, please welcome my friend Charlie Redner.
Thank you, one and all. I represent the Spoken Word Club. I'm the president. I've been doing that for almost 15 years now. David's one of the first people I met in the village, and I went out for a casting call, and he wouldn't let me go, and here I am 15 years later, still behind a microphone somewhere. So, War No More. I wrote this for last year's celebration, but I got called to jury duty. I was very honored and thankful that I got called, and I performed my duty, but I didn't realize it was a month-long criminal case, and I was able to attend that, but not here. So here's War No More for last year. Throughout American history, peace has consistently lost to war. The colonies realized peace after the Revolution. Was 1813 more peaceful than 1812? Did the North and South experience peace following the Civil War? Peace is a moving target, never stationary. World War I produced the war to end all wars. It did not. Hardly had the guns cooled when Roman numeral II erupted in Europe, quickly followed by confrontation exploding in the Pacific. Korea may be called the forgotten war, but hardly by those who fought it. Again, the South fighting the North. It still ain't over. Is geography the enemy of peace? Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq brought peace in mind only after political treaties. Peace treaties may quiet cannons, but the native peoples left in tattered battlefields possess actually little peace. Some historians claim that there have only been 15 years of peace in the U.S. over the last 248. Can we do better? Looking forward to the next generation, we must always maintain hope, hope, and more hope. And some of us write poems. We write poems because all wars start with words, and words end them. To paraphrase Professor Urashami speaking about the Holocaust, remembrances of war are shaped more by the poet's crucible than the historian's amble. Wars be gone. Poets, write on. Thank you. This next poem, What Separates Us? People ask me if you can tell us what separates us, what brings us together. Well, I challenge you to think about that. What separates us? What separates us are oceans and rivers for a start. Mountains and fences us part. Wavy lines on maps, countries defined, where histories may create past enemies of mind. Politics offer different points of view, which fashions may not agree with you. What separates us? Race, religion, and regulations of bevy, cultural and social mores weigh heavy. Language generates a huge divide amongst nations, perhaps confusing simple wants for hurtful condemnations. Sexual orientation provides a reference, but takes effort to abide by another's personal preference. Most earthlings know that we all must make do upon our diminutive spinning rondure of aqua hue, wandering amid a black void so vast and great that it must be measured by time, not a tape. Thank you.
Please welcome Diana Boland to the stage.
Have you ever been so lost in thought that you missed a turn? Does your mind drift and you forget what was said? Or even worse, get in a really bad mood, so bad that you lose perspective and don't care about anything? If your answer is no, not me, I'll switch with you right now because you know about peace. We frequently make the mistake of thinking that peace is something out there and unrelated to our own state of mind. Well, I know differently, and I learned it in an instant. I'll tell you how it happened. Some years ago, it feels like another lifetime now, I was at my lowest ever, financially, emotionally, spiritually. I'd just gotten divorced. A divorce I didn't want. Very little money, no family safety net, living in the basement of a hoarder's apartment amidst mounds of disordered, dusty stuff. I put my food outside on the cold windowsill and placed a bare mattress on the floor. My new life. I went for a walk to escape, but there was no escape. I was a despairing, emotional mess, a raucous, discordant assemblage of negativity, misery, self-pity, shame, despondency. I spiraled deeper and deeper into an abyss with no awareness of anything else. I was being indulgent and very self-centered. But nothing else mattered because I was suffering. Wow. A rock hits me in the back. There's an unexpected crack of pain. What the? I puzzled. My self-indulgence, my big, dark, stormy misery, gone. Gone in an instant. Replaced by pure awareness, no thoughts. I was fully present. No worry, empty mind, peace. And that was the moment I woke up. In that moment, I realized that depression is living in the past. Anxiety is living in the future. Joy and resilience is found in this present moment. Peace starts in your own mind. Is your glass half full or half empty? Is your mind full of fearful, anxious narratives or empty and peaceful? Empty mind, what is that? Empty mind is something to aspire to. It's not something you can just get real easy. It starts by learning how to be in the present moment, in a state of mind that you choose. And let me show you how, with a little demonstration. Imagine anything positive. It can be anything from ice cream to a sunset to your grandchild. Take a moment now and give a nod if you can think of anything positive. All right? Great. Now you may find you have some positive feelings associated with that thought. Stay with it, take a breath, exhale that positivity into this room. Now imagine something that you are grateful for. We're alive, right? That's something. Keep that thought. Take a breath and exhale the word thanks. Now imagine something you don't like about yourself. Don't kid me, we all do it. Exhale after you take your breath and say, help me to accept myself. How do you feel? Breath work, simple and always available. Choose a deep breath anytime, anywhere. Choose gratitude. There's always something that's good. Open your heart to others, the person next to you, your neighbor. Get out of yourself. Accept yourself just as you are. Make peace with your defects. Choose affirmation. Choose optimism. Choose forgiveness. Choose joy. Take a deep breath and make it yours. Exhale and share peace of mind. You have the building blocks for a better self and a better world. Because when you open to peace of mind, you are a vessel of peace. Start now on Peace Day. May peace be inside you.
Please welcome Annie McCary.
This poem by Maya Angelou is a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit, and that we each have within us the ability to be in that place of peace. And this poem called Still I Rise allows us an opportunity to see ourselves as the peace dove, to see ourselves as instruments of peace and focus within, because peace really might just be an inside job. Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my own living room? Just like moons and like the suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Do you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard because I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the hurts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slaves. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Pearl Lee is going to share with us, and I put this last, this is the path to peace. How are we going to get there? We've talked about it, we've heard about it, and now let's find out how we can get there. Please welcome my new friend, Pearl Lee.
Good afternoon. This is my honor to introduce a poem that is written by one of the most beloved essayists and poet in South Korea today. I will read in Korean, and I'm sure you will understand. And it will be followed by English translation. 평화로 가는 길은 이혜인. 이 둥근 세계에 평화를 주십사고 기도하지만 가시에 찔려나는 아픔은 날로 더해갑니다. 평화로 가는 길은 왜 이리 먼가요? 얼마나 더 어둠에 부서져야 한 줄기 빛을 볼 수 있는 건가요? 멀고도 가까운 나의 이웃에게, 가깝고도 먼 내 안의 나에게 맑고 깊고 넓은 평화가 흘러 마침내 하나로 만나기를 간절히 기도하며 울겠습니다. 얼마나 더 낮아지고 선해져야 평화의 열매 하나 얻을지 오늘은 꼭 알려주시기 바랍니다. Path to Peace by Hae In Lee. I pray that we may want peace all over the globe. But the bleeding pain of being pricked by thorns gets deeper and deeper. The road towards peace farther and farther. Wondering how much darkness must be broken before I see a single ray of light. For my neighbors far and close, for myself deep in my heart, near yet distant, I will pray with tears in my eyes, desiring the peace of pure, deep, and wide streams of peace flow to finally meet us as one in the end. How much kinder must we be? How much lower must we bend to get a small fruit of peace? I wish to know today. Thank you.
And now, our final musical selection, a sing-along.
Think of your fellow man, lift him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by, still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. So look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. And when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. I can hear you. Put a little love in your heart. Everybody, put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. All together, come on. Put a little love in your heart. One more time. Put a little love in your heart.
Thank you all.